So, a lot of times, I'm going to try not to cry. A lot of times I feel when I'm listening to music or when I'm taking photos, a prompting, and I know the Holy Spirit's going to tell me to say something. And so I get ready to have Him give me the words and get ready to very poorly try to put them into some format to share on social media. And that's kind of been my ministry. And I don't know what's going on tonight. It's kind of a different season, totally different. And there's a lot of that going on right now in our life. And I started hearing a song tonight. And I have shared bits and pieces of my testimony. I haven't shared it in its entirety. I don't know if I will here. But today, as I listened to the song, I felt God tell me that instead of writing, I should make this video and that I should share, I guess, as much of my story and my testimony as I felt like I should. Like I said, there's been like one video shared at my church before. And just a disclaimer, in case you're a young person, there's information in my story that's of a sensitive nature. And I'm saying this all to my phone right now, and I'm like, am I really going to share this? I don't know. Like, I know I'm going to record it. I'm going to be obedient to what God said, but I don't know if I'm going to share it. We'll see what He does. Anyways, first of all, it's super, super, super duper long. It goes all the way back to, honestly, like when I was little. My parents divorced when I was really small, and like I think I was not even a year, or just a little over a year. I never knew them married, but they were always great friends, and so that was wonderful for me. So I appreciate that. But since they were separated, my mom was a single mom, and God really started like the journey of my life when I was 5 years old. Even though my dad was a part of my life, like I could only see him on weekends and stuff. That's how it is, when you have a separated home, or at least it was then. And so my mom was single and working hard, and so, like I said, the first part of my story is that when I was 5 years old at my babysitter's house, her son decided to come into my room where I was taking a nap and do things to me that he shouldn't do. And I think I can remember, like, even I told my mom, and I don't know, I don't even remember what I told her, but I just remember from being even like 5 years old, just really starting to not understand men. And what I thought I understood was that they could just do whatever to me, that they kind of owned me or owned women, or I don't know. It's kind of hard to explain. But then I would go spend time with my dad, who was this wonderful man, and he would take me to church, and thank God that ever since I was little, I was exposed to Jesus and His truth, little bits throughout my life. Anyways, fast forward to high school. And Mama, if you're watching, this is not your fault. It's just life. And I love you. My mom and I both, I'm just going to put it this way. My mom and I both had a lot of really bad relationships with men that hurt us a lot. And a couple of the men in her life hurt me too. And so that kind of put a seal on the deal for me, that I didn't matter. Men didn't, men could do whatever. And I was sad and I was depressed when I was a teenager, and I just let whoever do whatever to me, and dated around and had a long-term boyfriend for a while. And he used to rough me up. And again, if he somehow sees this, it's not his fault. Everyone has a reason they are the way they are. It doesn't excuse their circumstances, but I hate to ever say that something's someone's fault. I don't know, that may sound so weird. Anyways, that serious boyfriend got me pregnant at 17 years old and then left. I don't even know where he went for a long time. And it was okay. I mean, it wasn't okay, but I had a great support system in my mom. At the time, she was married to a man that I still love dearly. He was an alcoholic though, and so he was not the same person when he was drinking. But when he wasn't drinking, he was amazing. They came around me, helped me have my first child, and watched my baby while I finished high school. And then that man lost both of his parents in the same year, and he just started drinking a lot. And so that obviously changed the dynamics of our home, and he had to leave. So then I decided that I had already felt like I was nothing. And I definitely still, as all girls do, the desire of my heart was to be a wife, and definitely wanted a dad for my little boy. So I got married right away out of high school to a gentleman who wanted to date me, and he was incredibly abusive. And again, anybody who sees this, I hate to keep saying it wasn't his fault, but he went through a lot in his life too, and it doesn't excuse things. But I've forgiven all these people. But he used to punch me and push me and drag me around by my hair and kick me and some pretty horrible physical and emotional stuff. So, but and we had another baby. So, and then I was terrified. I mean, all abusive women get into a position eventually where they're just a terrified shell of nothing. And they don't know what to do except to just try to keep staying alive for their kids. And that's where I was. Just angry and just trying to stay alive for my kids. So I lived every day in terror. And I was really hating men at that point. And I can see now, and I tell people this all the time, I'm so thankful God knows us when we don't. Even when we didn't know him. I mean, he was always there. If you're watching this, and you don't know him yet, he's there. And he's been with you. So, then my husband, he left us. It was honestly the best thing that could have ever happened. And I went home and stayed with my mom and tried to, she was divorced at the time, and so me and the boys moved in with her, and I had a lot of healing to do. I had to become a person. Like, I had no identity. I was a shell. I know I was a mom. That was it. And I wasn't the very best one all the time. So I started, people suggested that I do something, just one little thing to try to start figuring myself out, I started volunteering at a crisis pregnancy center. I thought, well, I was a teenage mom. I know about that. Maybe I can help, pack gift bags or hand out diapers, whatever. I didn't even know what the place was about. And I showed up, and they asked me what my testimony was. And I was like, what? Testimony of what? Like, I didn't even know what that meant. And the pastor, who was a pastor that volunteered there at the time, just kind of smiled when I asked him that question about what is a testimony. And asked me to come to his church. And people had, I have a teary nose. People had prayed. That's super embarrassing. Oh well, right? It's really transparent. Sorry, I had a snotty nose. It had been prayed over that church that it would be like a hospital for people who had been hurt. And it was full of hurt people. And the cool thing is that God was healing all those people because it was such a place of love. My husband and I have been in and out and a part of a lot of churches that aren't always a place of love. Not our current church, by the way, not any church that we've ever ministered at, places we've visited or that we've seen family visit. And especially when my husband was looking for a church when he first got his life together. Anyways, long story short, maybe, I started going to this church, and I remember just sitting in the pew and just hearing week after week about this Jesus. And I knew about him from when I was little, didn't fully understand. I think I even said a prayer when I was little to accept him into my heart. Not saying that can't really happen. I mean, it can. And kids respond to the gospel at all different times in their lives. I know it, I've seen it, and it doesn't mean it's not real, because I have seen fruit from very small ages. Small. But there wasn't fruit in my life for a really long time. And in fact, I didn't know that you could have a personal relationship with God. And in fact, at this new church where I sat there for a year, hearing about this Jesus, I remember thinking to myself, I am so in love with this Jesus person that they're telling me about. And but what he did, the sacrifice that he made, that's for good people. I have done yucky stuff, yucky. And so I kept going though, because it was just so great to learn about him and to learn about what he was doing in other people's lives. And then finally I just couldn't stand it. And as I got stronger and stronger in my faith, in understanding Christ, I can't say in my faith because I don't know, it's just this weird thing. I finally one day after church just asked one of my elders' wives, is there any way you think that Jesus would ever want somebody like me? Is there any way that I could be saved? And we wept together, and I came to know the truth. And that's that people like me, the really messed up ones who cry and have crusty noses and have done all kinds of bad stuff, I'm not saying that they're not any, I don't know what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say that if you're listening and you're so broken, and you guys, I didn't continue to live a perfect life. It took a long time for Jesus to finally transform me, but he wants to, and like, there's nothing that you've done. Like my son, I'll hear my son's like, because the news is awful, and I'll see something and be like, oh, that person deserves the death penalty, or that person's done something so wrong. And you guys, I deserve the death penalty. When I think about Jesus and I think about sin and what he had to take upon himself on the cross, it was actually sinful to think for myself. And I didn't understand, and that's okay, but it was actually sinful for me to think that that wasn't for me too. It was making a mockery of what he did. He took it all for every man. That means all those people you see on the news, all those people that you're like, man, they should totally be rotting in jail somewhere. They should totally, Jesus is in love with them. And he's in love with you. And he wants them. And he wants you, and he wanted me, and he wanted my husband, and he got me my husband, and he changed us into new people. Gosh, my nose. Totally new people. We say over and over and over again, we look back at our life, and if you want history, you're just gonna have to look somewhere, or talk to him if you don't know it. But we talk a lot about, like, we had 2 different lives. Like, we were transformed. Totally new people. It's like we lived a past life that, yeah, he wants that for you. Did everything in our life get perfect? No. We still have struggles. Sometimes I think we have more struggles now, but we have a peace because we know that there's somebody else in charge, and he can do it way better. And I was listening to this song today, and it's so funny because I had initially listened to it like a week ago, and it starts out, I gotta get a tissue. The lyrics start out talking about God bringing us the head of our enemy, and I thought that was so dorky sounding. I know in the Bible, I mean, you want some action, read the Old Testament. It talks a lot about that kind of stuff, but I just thought that was a really dorky lyric, and I remember dismissing this song. And then today I just decided to listen to it longer, and I knew God was prompting me, but I knew I couldn't write. I knew it was time for me to record my story. And I don't know, like I said, I don't know if I'll share it or if it'll sit on my phone, or if I just needed to get it out like somebody was listening. But anyways, I'm going to read you the lyrics of this. It's by my 2 favorites. Ooh, hello, light. Francesca Batistelli and Steffany Grettzinger together. Hello. Amazing. Once you get past the dorky that he brings us the head of our enemy, which, by the way, he does, he will put the enemy at your feet. It talks about transformation and about how everything we go through, even after we know him, we don't need to, and you keep going through seasons. Even as a believer, you go through seasons where you're struggling. There's struggles. You're like, what is going on? Where are you, Father? I'm alone. I don't understand this. And then all of a sudden, he just does it. And he fixes it, or he provides, and you're like, I couldn't even have dreamed of doing it like that. And it's just truly unfathomable, just like my life was. I could never, ever have dreamed that grace would be for me, and that I could be made new and whole. But I was, and I look back at my life and what I had to go through to get there. And even though it was pain and it was sorrow, it was beautiful, because it made that grace so precious to me. And anyways, the song says that you know before I do where my heart can seek to find your truth. Your mercy is the shade I'm living in. You restore my faith and hope again. And this is it, you guys. Hallelujah. You have saved me so much better this way. Hallelujah, great defender. So much better this way. And let me tell you, I used to think there was something magical I had to do to get saved, to get transformed. I ended up finding out all I had to do was let him in and tell him I loved him. Tell him I was sorry for stuff I did to hurt him, to hurt me. I hurt his daughter. I had to tell him I was sorry for that by messing up in my life. And then, and this is the lyrics that got me, you guys. When he goes and fights for us, we don't have to do anything. The lyrics say, all I did was praise. All I did was worship. All I did was bow down. All I did was be still. That's all we have to do. Just come to him. This song, y'all. Man, it took that saying right now. I'm like saying it a ton, all the feels, but like all the feels right now. All the feels. Then one of my favorite verses of it. And then I'll probably cry, so then I'll wrap this up. And I don't know what's gonna happen with this video. I really don't. Says, when I thought I lost me, you knew where I left me. You reintroduced me to your love. You picked up all my pieces, put me back together, the defender of my heart. I love that it says he knew where I left me. I was his beautiful daughter when I came into this world. Just like you're the beautiful son or daughter that you were when you came into this world, and he has a plan for you. Let him help you find where you left you. There's a lot out there, you guys. There's a lot of hate right now. There's all kinds of walks of life and faith, and I don't know, just Jesus is the real deal, man. Let him find you where you left you. Pick up your broken pieces and put you back together. Your life will never be the same. It won't be perfect. It won't be easy. It won't be always happy. But it'll be the best life. Oh, I'm getting like blotches from crying. Anyways, and go flipping listen to the song. Oh, I said flipping, I promise. It's called Defender by Steffany Grettzinger and Francesca Batistelli. And bow down and praise and be still. Let him help you find yourself where you left you.